गोविंद की नरसिंहदेव की गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंद। We have some volunteers close the kitchen door. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So reading from 7th chapter, text 7. So it is put on the screen also. Somebody wants to input. So please repeat after me. Attava parataram nanyat किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
मत्तः परतरं नान्य
मत्तपरतरं नान्य
किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
मत्तः परतरं नान्य
मत्तपरतरं नान्य
किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
सूत्रे मणिगणा इव
beyond myself, parataram, superior, na, not, anyat, anything else, kinchit, something, asti, there is, dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, mayi, in me, sarvam, all that be, idam, which we see, protam, sprung, sutre, on a thread, manigana, terms, iva, likened. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. So please repeat the translation. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. There is a common controversy over whether the supreme absolute truth is personal or impersonal. As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse in particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person. That the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. Ishvaraha Parama Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha. That is, the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the absolute truth is the supreme person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of Vedic version given in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. Tatoyat Uttaranam Tat Arupam Anamayam Ya Etad Vidur Amritaste Bhavanti Atekare Dukam Evapi Yanti. In the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam, but this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss and knowledge as described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above. Other verses in Svetasvatara Upanishad substantiate this as follows. Vedaham Vedam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasaha Parasta Tameva Vidwan Amrita Ehi Bhavati Nanyaha Panta Vidyate Ayanaya Yasmat Param Naparam Asti Kinchit Yasmanyo Na Jyayosti Kinchit. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to that Supreme Person because He is the supermost. He is the smaller than the smallest and He is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree and He illumines the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, He spreads His extensive energies. From these verses, one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is all-pervading by His multi-energies, both material and spiritual. Thus ends the purport by His Divine Grace, Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshur-Unmilitanjana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna-Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanande. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha-Punyavadi Paschatya-Nityanande. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the 7th chapter, text 7. We have covered the past few verses in the last few weeks. So this chapter is known as the knowledge of the Absolute. So Lord Krishna is revealing about Himself. He's in the previous verses, He speaks about these various energies. He talks about the material energies. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Hanmano, Buddhirevacha, Ahankara, Itiyame, Dhinna, Prakriti, Astada. So the 8 elements, including the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then the subtle elements, mind, intelligence and ego. He says they are His energies. They are all the energies of Krishna. And in the next verse he says, Aprayam Vitastwanyam Prakritim Vidyame Param Jiva Bhutam Mahabhaho Yedam Dharite Jagat. He says, apart from these material elements that have been mentioned earlier, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, and ego, there is one more element. And what is that? Krishna is using the word. It is Param, Vidyame Param, it is superior energy. And what is that? Jiva Bhuta Mahabhahu, it is the living being, the spirit soul. Right? The whole world is animated because of the living beings. There was an example given. Just imagine this world without the living beings. What will it be? Nothing. Right? So the Lord is saying there is one more energy, that is the superior energy, and that is the living being, the spiritual being. So there is the inferior energy and the superior energy. In the inferior energy, the material elements, it is said as it is the separated energy of the Lord. So it is the energy of the Lord, but it is separated. So there is no direct relation. Definitely there is a relation because there is a relation between energetic and energy. But the Jiva Bhuta, the living being, is called Vibhinnamsha. It is like an expansion. Krishna has so many expansions, the Lord, Swamsha and Vibhinnamsha. Swamsha means personal expansions. All the incarnations of the Lord, they are non-different from the Lord. Lord Rama, Krishna, Varaha, Vamana, Narsimha, all the various incarnations, they are all called as Swamsa, these personal expansions. Now there is the Vibhinnamsha, there is the differentiated or the parts and parcels, like the separated expansions, and that is the spiritual energy. We are all His separated parts. It's very interesting, like the children. A very good example that is given is the father and the children. And there is a very intimate relationship. Though they are separate, but at the same time they are actually part of the same, the body or the family. There is a very intimate connection. In the same way, the living beings, the superior energy, Jivatma, has an intimate relationship with the Lord. So these are the two energies. And then in the next verse, and Krishna says, everything put together, of all that is material and spiritual, all the energies together, know that I am both its origin and dissolution. So now Krishna is saying, well, these are the different kinds of energies, and I am the source of all these energies. Now a natural question comes, what is the source of Krishna? Sometimes if you just analyze the cause and effect, something, a cause is an effect of a different cause. Right? You take any example, let's say the plants are growing. Now that seems to be a cause, but actually it's an effect of the sunlight and the seed and the air and water and everything. Now you can go on analyzing, well, where is it getting all these sources? Or it is from the sun. So sun becomes the cause. But then there is the effect of the sun also. They say, different theories, how, material energy manifested. So if you go on analyzing like this, there is the cause and effect. Everything you will find, it seems to be the cause of an effect. That cause itself could be an effect of something else. So you can go on analyzing like that. So in the same way, one could even think, oh well, then what about Krishna? Is there an origin for Krishna? Is there something beyond Krishna? Right? We see that there is material energy, or the source of material energy is Krishna. The source of spiritual energy is Krishna. Then is there a source for Krishna? That's a question. So immediately Krishna is clarifying in this verse. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. Mattaha means beyond myself. Parataram, superior. Right? Is there something superior than me? Nanyat, nothing. There is nothing else. Kinchid, anything asti. So there is nothing superior to me. So Krishna is saying, here is where it ends. I am the supreme. I am the supreme origin of all the energies. And then he also gives a very nice analogy of how this whole manifestation, the whole creation is working. He says, "My sarvam idam krodham sutre manigana iva." That means I am like the string of the all the. If you take an example of a pearls necklace, right? It's a very beautifully lined pearls necklace, but you don't see what is it that is holding, right? It's the string, the thread that is not generally visible. So in the same way, the Supreme Lord Krishna is that string that is maintaining everything together. Prabhupada in one place, he also gives a similar analogy. He says, why Krishna is using the word pearls? Because the pearls are round, right? And this whole universe, if you see the whole creation, there are many universes, and the Lord is sustaining all these universes. So all these universes, if you consider them as different pearls, there is one common string, the energy of the Supreme Lord, that is sustaining the whole universe. So Krishna is clarifying that he is the Supreme. And if you generally think, oh well, everything should have an origin, maybe there is an origin for Krishna, let me find that. See, actually it's an infinite loop it ends up in. If you think there is an origin for Krishna, okay, let's say there is something X. And what about origin for X? If you go with the understanding that everything should have an origin, let's say you find something else, and that means that also should have an origin. And Y will have origin of Z. It will go on, right? It's an infinite loop. If everything has to have a source, you will never find the source, because whatever you end, then it should have some other source. So that is where even logic can't comprehend what is the ultimate source. If you keep thinking that there has to be a source for everything, so that is why the Lord Krishna's definition is very clearly given as even in Brahma Samhita, where here Prabhupada is quoting, Ishvaraha Parama Krishna. Ishvara means controller. Prabhupada gives an example. There are different kinds of controllers. Even we are all controllers. We control a little bit aspect of our life, though we don't have control on everything. A few days ago it was very hot, again yesterday it was cold, now it is getting warm. We don't have control of those things. But we have little control on our day-to-day lives, little bit of activities. So we are also Ishvara. But then there are the other controllers, the devatas, the demigods. They are controlling all these energies, the wind, the fire, the air, the sun, the nature. Nature is under the control of devatas. But then Krishna is saying, in this verse it says, Ishvaraha Parama, there is one supreme Ishvara, the supreme controller, that is Krishna. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna. And what is his quality? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means he is eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. That is the quality of the Lord. Sat Chit Ananda. And Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. He has a form also. He has a form, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Anadi, again the same word. Anadi. Adi means origin. Anadi means who has no origin. It's a very neat clarification. Krishna has no origin. Anadi, Adi Govinda, but he is the Adi. He is the source of everything, but he has no source. He has no origin. So that is again the definition of the Lord. So where it ends, if one goes on finding the truth, where it ends, it will end at Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. The same thing what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Brahma states this in the Brahma Samhita. He is the source of all, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So that's the definition of Supreme Lord Krishna. Now here in the purport, Prabhupada is bringing a nice point about impersonalists and personalists. There are two types of transcendentalists. There's one class of spiritualists who are called as impersonalists. What do they believe? They believe that the Lord has no form. The Lord has no, comprehensible form. They think the Lord is, infinite energy, infinite light, or infinite, bright source energy. And if you are giving a form to the Lord, then you are just confining Him. You are limiting the Lord. But that is not what is Lord. So this is the understanding of the impersonalist. They are also called as Mayavadis. Mayavadis means they say everything is Maya. Everything what you see is Maya, which is in one sense true. Illusion. Everything is an illusion. What we see is not what it actually is. We think that somebody is a very beautiful person, but actually, if you analyze, where is the beauty? It is a covering skin. If you go a few millimeters deep, it is all blood and muscles and all the bodily organs, but that is not visible. What we see is a very beautiful person or a very something else we see. So we are all illusion. Actually, everything that we see is not actually the truth. We are all illusioned by the different coverings that are being presented in front of us. So the impersonalists, the Mayavadi, they say that the Lord has no form. He is formless. He is just bright, abundant energy, and He is the source of everything. And but the personalist, the Vaishnavas, and the Vaishnava Sampradaya, like the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanujacharya is the prominent Acharya, like the Madhva Sampradaya. Here we come under the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Lord Brahma was the first spiritual master. He got instruction from Lord Krishna. Tene Brahma Rida Adi Kavya. So when Lord Brahma, everybody knows that Brahma was the first creator, the creator God. And how was we discussed this earlier also. How did Lord Brahma even come? What was the source of his birth? He was actually born from the navel of Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And it is said when Lord Brahma was born, he was not aware of anything. He was just born. He found himself on this lotus flower, and he has this body. He has no idea what is going on. All of a sudden, just like you fall asleep and you wake up. Let's say sometimes you're in a dream, or suddenly, let's say you woke up and you find yourself somewhere completely you don't know anything about. So Lord Brahma, when he took birth, that was his situation. So he was born in the Brahmaloka, and there was no father, no mother. He was born from the navel of Lord Vishnu, and it's a huge lotus. The whole Brahmaloka is there. That lotus flower is there in the Brahmaloka. And he was born, and he opened his eyes, and he didn't understand what was going on. So it was said he walked around all over. He couldn't find anything. And then he saw there was this lotus, flower like an arrangement. So there is the stem, right? The lotus has a stem. So it said he went inside also. It was very dark. And if you take the stem of the lotus, it was very dark, and he was not knowing what to do, how long he will keep going in the darkness. So he came back up again, and he was wandering, and he didn't know what to do. Then there was an Akashvani that gave him a mantra. There is a purpose for your existence. There is a reason why you came into appearance. So you should chant this mantra and you will become self-realized. So he was given a mantra, the Akashvani. It gave him the mantra of, it had Krishna's name, it's a Krishna mantra. So he would chant that mantra. It was that he meditated for 100 years. 100 years in the time calculation of the Devatas, which is like thousands of years from our time. And then when he did the meditation, the Lord Krishna revealed everything from within his heart. That's why it said, Tene Brahma Hriday Adi Kavye. So in the Brahma, the self-realization happened from within his heart. So Lord Krishna instructed him. He gave him this Vedic knowledge. He gave him the understanding of the existence of the material world, the spiritual world, the purpose of life, the purpose of creation and everything. At that time, when he got that state of self-realization, Lord Brahma composed a literature called Brahma Samhita. Brahma had composed it. And it is said it had like 100 chapters, and only one chapter was found a few hundreds of years ago in Kerala, one of the, I think it was an Adikeshwar temple in one of the cities in Kerala. So the literature was found. In that, the first statement Lord Brahma is saying is this, because he has realized the Lord, he has realized Krishna, and he has realized his form. So he is stating this, oh Ishvara Parama Krishna, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Satchit Ananda Vigraha, he is the form of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Anadir Adir Govinda, he has no origin, but he is the origin. Sarva Karana Karana, he is the cause of all causes. So this is where Lord Brahma himself is saying this. So that itself refutes the argument of the impersonalists or Mayavadis. They say, oh, God has no form and everything. Well, Lord Brahma himself is saying God has a form. Satchitananda Vigraha. He has a spiritual form. It is not a material form though. In one sense, they are right when they say he has no form, but what it is, he has no material form. Our material form is temporary. Right? We take birth, we stay for a while, this body, it remains for a while, and then it produces some byproducts, and then it dwindles. They say there are 6 stages for the material, anything material. It will come into appearance, it will stay for a while, and then it will slowly dwindle, and it will finally disappear. You take anything, any new brand new thing, take a brand new car for example, very nice. But as time goes, time deteriorates everything. Right? It will go, it will become weak, it will get rusted. Finally, it will go to the scrap yard, and then it will be compressed or whatever goes with the sand and soil. And after so many years, millions of years, it again just decomposes. So that is the thing. Anything you take in this material world is temporary, doesn't stay at all. So, but Krishna's form, Krishna's body is not a temporary. It is a spiritual body. It will stay eternally. So that is why it is the first thing is they said about the Lord is Sat, is eternal. Chit is full of knowledge. The material body, when we are in the material body, we are not full of knowledge. We don't know even how our body works. We eat food, it gets digested, we get some energy. We don't even know how it works. If you go to the doctor and he will show some charts, this is how your stomach is, you have a liver, you have this, you have a pancreas. We don't even have a clue these things are there. Right? But still the body works. So we are in ignorance actually. When we are in the material world, we are in ignorance, we don't know anything. But Krishna's body, Krishna's form is not like that. It is such chit. Chit means full of knowledge. And the third thing, Ananda. Krishna's feature is such Ananda, full of bliss. And it is said, Anandamayo, that is the nature of the soul. That is the nature of spirit. That is why we are always trying to be happy. Right? Ananda. Ultimately, anybody, whatever they are trying to do, I want to be happy, they will say. Right? Does anybody say, I am working so hard because one fine day I want to become really unhappy? Nobody says that. Everyone is looking for happiness. That is the nature of the soul. So, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and there is a form. So, Lord Brahma himself, the first creator, the first person in this whole creation, he himself is giving a verdict, very clear statement that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has a form. Then the question comes then, what about impersonalists? So are they completely wrong? God has no infinite energy and the bright energy and source like that. But actually, they are also not wrong. They are only partially correct. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the definition, the complete definition of God is given there, of the absolute truth. And it says, Vadantita Tattva Vidas Tattvam. So the Tattva, the absolute truth, what is said about it? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavanti, Shabdite. So there are 3 aspects of the supreme absolute truth. The first is Brahman. Brahman is the Brahma Jyoti, the infinite energy, the bright light and the source of everything. That's what some people think. That is definitely an energy of the Lord. The whole creation is manifested by the Lord's infinite energy. So infinite energy is definitely there, but that is not all in all. That is only the first step in understanding the absolute truth. Brahmeti, and then there is the Paramatmeti. There is the localized aspect of the Lord also. The Lord not only present as infinite energy, he has a localized form also as Paramatma. He is there in every atom. He is there in everybody's heart also as Paramatma. The yogis, when they meditate, they don't meditate on some other, the Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha or the Lord Krishna in some temple. They actually meditate on the Paramatma. That is the expansion of Lord Vishnu, the localized Paramatma in the heart. Dhyana vastita tathakatena manasa pashyanti jnana yogena. In the dhyana, they are meditating on the Supreme Lord in their own heart. So that is the localized Paramatma. The Lord Krishna, the Bhagavan, absolute truth, he has this Paramatma aspect also. He is in every atom and he is in every living being also as Paramatma. And then the third aspect is Bhagavan. Bhagavan means, Bhagavan means opulence. One who is full in all 6 opulences. That is Bhagavan. So that is the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lord Krishna. So the impersonalists or Mayavadis, they are not wrong, but they are only partially correct. They are only accepting the first aspect of the absolute truth, not the complete understanding. Prabhupada gives a very nice example of the sun and the sunshine. Just like you see the sunshine, it's visible everywhere. Just like there is a bright energy, the sun's energy. Right? At the same time, sunshine is not all in all. There is the source of the sunshine. There is the sun planet. And then actually in the Vedic scripture says in the sun planet there is actually sun god who is managing the affairs of the sun and the planetary systems. So in the same way, there are three aspects in the sun, right? The sunlight, the sun and sun god himself. In the same way, there is the Brahman, the Paramatma and Bhagavan. So these are the various definitions, understanding of God. And Bhagavad Gita, many places, Krishna is actually re-emphasizing that his personal feature. Other place he says, Aham Madrihi Devanam. So I am the origin of all the lords. And then he also says I am the supreme lord of all the devatas. So in this way, the Lord's personal feature is established by the Vedic scriptures and the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita. And this personal form, this Brahman, if you analyze the human life, there is one statement that is made about human life. Athato Brahma Jignasa. What is the purpose of human life? It's a common question. Sometimes it challenges everyone. What is the purpose of my life? What should I do? Right? I will live for so many years. Okay, people say work hard, make money, earn this, that. All that I will do. But what is the actual purpose of my life? Is the purpose of life just to work hard, earn money, and then leave everything and die one day? No, that is not the purpose of life. Because our life doesn't end at the end of this life. We will get another body. Then what is that body? How will that body be? Right? Where did I come from? What body I was before? So that is why we are spiritual beings. It's called Brahman. Brahman also means spiritual. So it said, Athato Brahma Jignasa. So the purpose of human life is to understand this spiritual nature. And we will understand ourselves when we understand Krishna. He said like when you turn on the light, if you are in darkness, if something fell on you, let's say you were in the darkness, you were walking, and something spilled, probably some color paint or something fell on you. Can you see what actually fell on you? No, right? It is dark. But if you turn on the light, you will see yourself and you will see everything else also. It's a very interesting analogy. Even yourself you won't know unless you turn on the light. So understanding God is like turning on that light. You will understand yourself, you will understand God, and you will understand everything else also. Yasmin Vignate Sarvametam Vignatam Bhavanti. By knowing whom, you will know everything. That is Krishna, that is the Lord, that is Parabrahma. So by understanding God, you will understand everything. We will understand ourselves. Understanding of God includes all His energies, all His potencies, and we are nothing but one of His energy. We are spiritual energy, we are His part and parcel. We are His spiritual energy, it is said. So that understanding of God, we should get. That is what spiritual literature says. Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now what happens if I get understanding of God? Right? If I understand Krishna, what is it? Okay, I should understand. So what will happen? That Krishna himself says in the 4th chapter. He says, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yo Vinti Tatvataha Tyaktya Devam Punarjanmaneti Mameti Kaunteya. He says, one who understands about me, Janma Karma, my appearance and my activities, Chame Divyam, they are divine. The Lord's appearance and activities, they are not like regular person's activities. Regular children, regular people, they are also being born, they also do some activities. But the Lord's activities are divine. His appearance is divine. He doesn't appear based on the regular living being. He appears in a particular place based on his karma. If he is destined to get a good birth, he will be born in a good family. If he is destined to get a bad birth, he will be born in a very difficult circumstance. But Krishna's appearance is not like that. This is divine appearance. He comes with a purpose to re-establish religion. Also. So in the same way, karma, his activities. What are his activities? The typical materialist activities are to fulfilling their passions of wealth, fame or name or beauty. So many angles they are going. But Krishna's activities are not like that. They are not for that purpose of attaining wealth, fame, name or anything. Krishna is supreme absolute. He has everything. And what is his purpose? His purpose is to actually deliver all the fallen souls. We are all in this material world. We have fallen from the spiritual world. Krishna is called Achyuta, one who has not fallen. And we are called Achyuta. That means we have fallen down. So Krishna comes to pick us up again from this fallen down circumstance. Just like we are all good citizens in the city, and then there is somebody is in the prison. So sometimes the good citizens of the city, they go, and sometimes the president himself goes to the prison and tries to tell them, you give up all this kind of nonsense activities that you're doing, you're only suffering. You come back, become a good citizen again. So that is our situation. We have left the spiritual world, we have left the association of Lord, and we are in this material world. So the purpose of the Lord is to bring us back, to deliver the fallen soul. So this is the understanding of God. Why He appears is different. What activities He does, the purpose of His activities, that is also different. And how do we get all this understanding? That also Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariparishnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnana jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. He says tadviddhi, this knowledge. Yes, tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena. Pranipatena means you have to surrender. Pariprashnana, and you have to inquire. From whom? And also sevaya, you should do some service also. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti. Then you will get the knowledge. Tat jnanam, that knowledge. From whom? Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha, one who has seen the truth. One who has seen the truth, the spiritual master has seen the truth. And he can reveal the knowledge to us. So that is where the Guru comes into the picture. Like the spiritual master of our organization is Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is connected in the Brahma Vaishnava, the Brahma Gaudiya, Madhva Sampradaya, all the way from Lord Krishna. And he is providing the pure knowledge of Krishna. It is said that the spiritual master, the Guru, is the external manifestation of the super soul. The super soul is Lord Krishna himself. And the external manifestation, from outside he gives knowledge. From inside also, Chaitya Guru. The Paramatma is called as Chaitya Guru. He gives us knowledge from inside. The knowledge that we have, actually it is given by Krishna. But because we are all trying to acquire material knowledge, Krishna is giving material knowledge. Krishna says, Matta Smriti Granam Apohanam Cha. Sarvasya Chaham Rudhi Sannivishtam. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he is in everybody's heart. And from him he is giving Matta Smriti Granam Apohanam Cha. I am giving the knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness also. So the spiritual master is the external manifestation of the super soul. And it is also said is the transparent via medium for the Supreme Lord. That is the transparent medium. There is nothing that the spiritual master acts or subtracts. But he acts as a medium through which we can understand Krishna. And if you see this Bhagavad Gita as it is, this is full of explanations. The purport that we are reading, these are the explanations, the understandings are given by the spiritual master. And when the spiritual master gives us instructions, he gives us the do's and don'ts. There are 4 don'ts that are recommended for one who wants to make spiritual advancement. They say that religion is to actually elevate spiritually. And they say there are 4 pillars of religion. They say there is cleanliness, truthfulness, austerity, and compassion. So these are the 4 pillars of religion. Unless these 4 activities are satisfied, it is not a valid religion. So this dharma, this bhakti yoga, this process, or the Vedic Sanatana Dharma is actually based on these 4 principles. So there are the 4 regulative principles that are given. First thing is no meat eating. What does it do? It actually enforces the principle of compassion. Because when there is meat eating involved, there is so much cruelty. It is said, there was a nice statement by a Westerner. He said if slaughterhouses had glass walls, no one would indulge in meat eating. It's an amazing statement. The amount of cruelty that happens within the slaughterhouse, the animals, especially the animals, they have highly developed consciousness. They also have all the 5 senses like we have. They have the eyes, the nose, the ears, and everything. Only difference is their level of intellect is very less. So they are very sensitive. Try to go take a pet to a veterinary and let's see if he is giving injection. Even the dog or the animal will also resist. It has highly developed senses. So what happens in the slaughterhouses when there is meat eating involved? The compassion aspect is lost. There is so much cruelty is involved. And when one indulges in cruelty, how can he expect any peace and happiness and actually spiritual advancement? Because where is this cruelty going to? It is going to the other living being. And what is this other living being? It is nothing but that is also child of Krishna. We are all children of Krishna. Based on our karma, we are in different bodies. Krishna says, Aham bija pradapitaha, sarva yonishu kaunteya. Of all the species, I am the seed-giving father. If Krishna is father, we are all his children. All the living beings are children. Will the father tolerate one child killing the other child? Right? Will he tolerate? If one child says, oh father, you have 5 children, 4 of us are intelligent. This 5th guy is very dull-headed, very dumb. He's not very smart. Shall we just kill him? What will the father say? Impossible, no way. Let him remain on. I will take care of him. Right? So the father will never allow the child to be killed. In the same way, when the meat eating happens, one of the child of the father is being given so much pain. So the whole the principle of religion, the compassion aspect is lost. So how can one think of cultivating love of the Lord How can one try to understand God when they are causing so much pain and suffering? So that's the first principle. So meat eating should be absolutely avoided if one wants to make spiritual progress. And then the next aspect is cleanliness. One should be clean. And it is said, illicit relationships. There should not be any illicit relationships. Because the purpose of life is lost when there are illicit relationships. One gets carried away by lust and so many other allegations. It does not help in progress of spiritual life. So the illicit relationships should be completely blown away. The another aspect is truthfulness, the third pillar of religion. And what is the principle for truthfulness that is recommended in the Vedic Shastra is to avoid gambling. Because gambling, there is a lot of lying and everything involved. So gambling is also one of the regulative principles that it should not be indulged in. And the last principle is austerity. And austerity means one should take some difficulty upon himself so that he can make spiritual advancement. And it is said this taking intoxication, it breaks the principle of austerity. Sometimes people take this, drinks and liquor and all this. What are they trying to do? They're just trying to become very loose, not holding with themselves. Right? They end up doing whatever and everything. So it is not good for the spiritual progress, taking any kinds of intoxicants. So these are the four don'ts that should not be done. And then what are the do's? Now this is all in the Vedic Shastra. And the spiritual master enforces this. He reminds us these principles. And he gives us the mechanisms and brings them to the priority so that we can follow and progress in spiritual life. And then he gives the do's also, what are to be done and what are not to be done, we discussed. And the do's is to perform the spiritual activities. And especially in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna himself, the whole Bhagavad Gita is actually about Bhakti Yoga. In the 18th chapter, in summary, Krishna says, give up everything and surrender unto me. Sarvadharmam paritejya mamekam sharanam braja. One could think, what is this surrender mean? How do we surrender? It also Krishna clarifies very neatly. He says, Manmana bhava madbhakto majjaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me, Manmana bhava madbhakto. Become my devotee. He clearly says, madbhakto. Become my devotee. Majjaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru. Pay obeisances unto me. So this is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. So when we talk about Bhakti Yoga, people think, there are different kinds of yogas. This organization is pushing on a particular yoga called Bhakti Yoga. But why are we pushing on Bhakti Yoga? Because Krishna himself, in the conclusion, the final summary in the 18th chapter, before ending everything and before the war is beginning, he summarizes to Arjuna and says, do this, become my devotee, perform Bhakti Yoga. And then the Acharyas give more details on how to perform this Bhakti Yoga. And there are 9 principles of devotional service. There is Shravana. Shravana means hearing about the Lord. If we are hearing about Bhagavad Gita, we should hear about the Lord in his pastimes. Like Srimad Bhagavatam is the recommended literature for Shravana. There are full of pastimes and leelas of the Lord, his different incarnations, different devotees, how they have advanced spiritually. So Shravana. Kirtanam is actually reciting or chanting the lines of the Lord, reciting the Bhagavatam, reciting Bhagavad Gita, and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That is Kirtanam. Shravana Kirtanam. Vishnu Smaranam. We have to remember also. We always have to remember the Lord. Whatever knowledge we acquire, whatever understanding we are getting, we have to remember it and practically apply in life. But we have a big list and small list. If you are spending more time at the temple, I will go to the big list. I want for this, I want that, I want that. So very short trip, you will run this short list. Okay, at least good job and good salary. Something like that. So in the same way, but becoming friend is not just asking, it is disclosing our heart and actually trying to please the Lord. Because everything that we are enjoying today, whatever positive is happening in our life, is because of the Lord's mercy. Because of absolutely the Lord's mercy. And then Atma Nivedanam, completely surrendering to the Lord. So that is the ultimate stage of perfection. When we completely surrender to the Lord, that means we have no other avocations. We are not carried away by money, we are not carried away by all other material avocations, by accumulating property or strength or all kinds of things that are going on. And what happens? At the end of life, it is said the whole life is a preparation and the death is an examination. Today the Sunday school children are having different kind of examination. But in our life, the whole life, what are we preparing for? By this Vedic knowledge, we have to prepare ourselves to become spiritually perfect. And death is an examination. And what is the examination? And the death, what is seen? Our consciousness is observed. If we are conscious of Krishna and all we want is to be with Krishna and enough of this dealing with temporary things, because everything is temporary, one actually only becomes frustrated. You go to the old person and an old man in an old age home or who is on the deathbed. If you ask him, are you very happy? You earn so much money, you earn so much name. He says, no, I am frustrated of all this. I wasted my life because now nothing is saving me. I don't want to die and now I am facing death. And all the money and everything I have accumulated also, people who have taken also are not very willing to take care of me. Right? The dying person, if you ask, he'll be frustrated why he spent so much time and energy on all this. Why? Because he doesn't want to die. So that is what we should work towards. Prabhupada coined a nice word called deathlessness. We should work toward deathlessness. And what is that deathlessness? By going back to Vaikuntha, where there is no birth, death, old age and disease. So at the time of death, it will be analyzed what is our consciousness. If our consciousness is that of Krishna, of going back to Krishna, of going back to the spiritual world, rather than being in the material world, and that is the passing point. And one actually won't take birth again. As I just said, Krishna says, Mamupetya Kaunteya Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam Mapnuvanti. Once one thinks of me and one wants to come to me, that's it. He comes to me, he will never come back to this material world, which is Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam, which is the world with these miseries of birth, death, old age and disease. That is the ultimate perfection of self-realization, ultimate state of Bhakti Yoga, and that is what we all should aspire for. Prabhupada actually says, you should try to finish this business in this life, no more another life. He says that should be our determination. I don't want to take another birth again here, go through all these phases of birth, death, old age, disease, working hard day and night, only to give up everything and start over all over again. So I'll conclude here. And I always say with nice theory, a good dose of practicality is really helpful. So with all the understanding that we have got, that performing devotional service is what is helpful, we should put it in practice. And the best way to put it in practice is given by Krishna himself, as Lord Chaitanya is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So we'll all chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and while we chant, we are actually performing Bhakti Yoga. We are doing Shravana, we are doing Kirtana, we are doing Smarana. So in this way we are doing everything. All the principles of devotional service are there in the chanting. When we chant, we hear the mantra, we think of the Lord, and in this way we are getting closer and closer to the Supreme Lord. So please, let's all chant now. Please repeat the Guru Pranam mantra and Panchadosha mantra, and we'll all chant Hare Krishna mantra together. So please repeat. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Acharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So let's all chant together. You said one should be attentive and hear every mantra while you are chanting. And you should chant in a prayerful mood. So let's chant together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,